a huge update on the Owen Shroyer incident, where you may have seen this video. He was in DC and a Women's March protester, he says, sexually assaulted him. And the reason I say he says is because of what we can actually see in the video. Now, the update, just for those, you've seen the title of the video, the woman's been arrested, and we're going to get into that. First, let's play the clip so you understand the context of exactly what just happened.
A minor, I think the instance in itself could be considered a minor issue.
So if our president can grab a woman by the pussy, I can grab you by the balls.
She just grabbed my dick. Is that sexual assault?
Okay, first, you can't really see what happened for the most part. You do see her come up to him. She says something about if Trump can grab a woman by the pussy, can I grab you by the balls? He flinches and says, she just grabbed my crotch.
Is that sexual assault?
Yes.
So you just sexually assaulted me?
I did assault you.
Should you be arrested?
Arrest me.
I'm not gonna arrest you.
He asks her if she sexually assaulted him. She says yes. He says, should she be arrested? She says, arrest me. Okay, well, she got arrested. We have a story. It's actually real interesting. I wasn't gonna make a video about this because the sources tended to be alternative media groups that I wasn't super familiar with. But here we have it from the Washington Post just the other day. Women's March participant charged in incident with InfoWars reporter. It's actually happened. A participant in the Women's March on Washington earlier this month has been accused of inappropriately touching a video producer for InfoWars as he conducted interviews at the event, according to DC police. Inappropriately touching. It's a funny euphemism for sexually assaulting a man, admitting to it on camera, and then asking to be arrested. Isabel O'Shaughnessy, 21, was charged with misdemeanor sex abuse, and a police spokesman said she surrendered Wednesday. A Superior Court judge released her pending her next court appearance March 14th. The police spokesman identified O'Shaughnessy as a student at Catholic University of America. She did not immediately return a call seeking comment, and her attorney did not respond to a phone call to his office or to an email message. Police said the incident occurred January 19th as thousands of people marched through the nation's capital. The producer was conducting an interview at the time near New York Avenue and 14th Street Northwest. The producer posted a video on the internet on January 21st saying on Twitter, "Here is the moment I was sexually assaulted by a Women's March 2019 protester. She laughed about it, the crowd cheered, the police did nothing." They mentioned InfoWars was founded by Alex Jones, a conservative conspiracy theorist. You know, I have to wonder how they're framing this. Is really interesting. We'll talk about that. Dustin Sternbeck, a DC police spokesman, said the producer reported the incident on January 23rd, and the investigation took several days before prosecutors signed off on an arrest warrant. The arrest affidavit alleges O'Shaughnessy intentionally grabbed the producer in a private area. In an interview with police, she said she inadvertently brushed up against him and that he took her comments out of context in what was an emotionally charged situation. Really? The Washington Post generally does not identify victims of alleged sexual assault, and the producer could not be reached for comment. Well, then why would they do it now? I mean, obviously, Owen Shroyer has announced it himself. But can you, first of all, seriously? She inadvertently brushed up against him. He then says she grabbed my crotch, and she admits to it. She says she did. I'm sorry. You know, obviously she wants to come out now and try and defend herself because, goddamn, she made a huge, huge tactical error in sexually assaulting a person in public in front of tons of people and admitting to it on camera. Now, again, you can't see what she does necessarily on camera. We can make assumptions because you see Owen kind of like, whoa, jump back, and then says she just did it, but you hear people go, whoa, and they're all yelling. If she inadvertently brushed up against him, would anybody in the crowd start going, woo, and yelling? So let's watch that again real quick.
I think the instance in itself could be considered a minor issue.
So if our president can grab a woman by the pussy, I can grab you by the balls.
If the president can grab a woman by the pussy, she says she can grab someone by the balls. But as soon as you see Owen jump, you hear someone start laughing very loudly. If she inadvertently brushed up against him, I really doubt people would be jeering and laughing and going, whoa, and then she admits to it. Let's take a look at how they framed this in the Washington Post, right? Inappropriately touching. Yes, but the police called it sex abuse. How about you say, a Women's March participant earlier this month has been accused of sexually abusing a video producer in public. You see how they frame things, okay? That's how they do it. She was literally charged with sex abuse, but they're going to call it something else. They then add, InfoWars was founded by Alex Jones, a conservative conspiracy theorist. What does that have to do with the fact that somebody was sexually assaulted? Imagine if a woman was out in public and a man groped her, and the Washington Post said that it was just inappropriate touching, and the woman worked for a far-left conspiracy outlet. Does that have any bearing on the fact that someone just assaulted this woman? No, it doesn't. But you know what? So I'll end this story by saying it's really interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm really surprised that Owen actually filed charges. Went to the police with this one. Often when it comes to instances of women assaulting men, there are very high-profile moments where they get away with it. Now look, there are many high-profile instances where men have gotten away with it too. I'm not trying to claim that one side gets away with it more than the other. But there are some interesting double standards, most notably from people like Amy Schumer, who publicly talked about how she essentially raped a guy, and no one seems to care. So I've got some other stories pulled up that I find particularly interesting. This one's from 2014, Thought Catalog. I have no idea what Thought Catalog is. It's got a bad rating from NewsGuard. It says, wait a second, did Amy Schumer rape a guy? Yes, she did, at least according to this article, she did. I don't know if she actually did. But apparently, it's a story about how she's with this dude. He's plastered drunk. His eyes are half closed. He has no idea what's going on. And she keeps trying to hook up with him. But here's the important part, okay? She said his penis was so soft, it felt like one of those de-stress things that slips from your hand. He wasn't aroused. He was half passed out. And she was trying to bang him while he was too drunk to know what was going on. Yes, that is rape. Amy Schumer, according to the story, I don't know what this, where does the story come from? Vulture.com. Oh, okay, that's interesting. She gave a speech about it. Well, apparently, let's see, oh yeah, look at this. Look, she actually says this. She talks about how this guy Matt, and then, let's see where she gets into the part. So basically, he smelled like skunk microwaved with cheeseburgers. Interesting. So she went on this huge tirade where she told this story about how she sexually assaulted a dude. She straight up raped him. She was riding him while he was like totally unconscious, apparently. Let's do a search. Yeah, okay, this is from vulture.com. All right, well, there you go. Amy Schumer raped a guy. His penis was so soft it felt like one of those de-stress things. She looked out the room to try to distract myself, God willing. What's on the wall? Scarface, yada. Wow. Well, let me just say this. If the roles were reversed, whoever claimed, like if it was a dude who talked about how this woman was so hot and he was so excited and she was half past, could you imagine? Man, she didn't even know what was going on. Her eyes were closed. That's insane. This is a story of Amy Schumer raping a guy. And of course, the reason why I bring this story up specifically, again, I'm not trying to claim that men get away with it, that women get away with it more than men or anything like that. For years, people like, Harvey Weinstein or whatever, and other people were getting away with these horrible, horrible offenses. Yeah, okay, for sure. But what's interesting here is that Amy Schumer is a feminist advocate who talks about these issues, who advocates against assault, but then openly admits to it. There's another story that I think is actually particularly relevant and recent. This is a post on Trashy, which is kind of like a mainstream subreddit. It's got 1.14 million subscribers. And Riley Reid, who my understanding is she's a porn star. I don't know too much about her. She said she was tweeting at somebody. They're claiming this is a real tweet. I don't know if it's a real tweet, but I wanted to bring it up. In 2012, she tweeted, funny, she said that she raped a kid in a movie theater because she wanted to bang, and he kept saying no. That's how she lost it. Apparently, she deleted the tweet. That's what they're claiming. I don't know if this is a real tweet, okay? And I don't want to accuse her of anything because I don't know. Maybe it's real, maybe it isn't. The point is, this story 14 days ago starts getting a ton of attention. And so I'm wondering, why hasn't this been addressed more completely, right? If it's not true, then you'd think someone would come out and deny it. You'd think there'd be stories about this, but there aren't. So we effectively have, we have numerous instances, and I'm sure there's more, right? I didn't go on a deep search to produce some great piece about women assaulting men or anything like that. I think the statistics show that men are the overwhelming perpetrators of sexual violence, but it does happen to men. But the reason I bring this up is that you have these two instances. With Owen Shroyer, people were laughing and cheering when it happened. Like, you heard that. They're like, woo-ha, laughing. It's like, whoa, dude, that's not funny at all. And I'll say this too. There are a lot of feminists that I have tremendous respect for bringing up that prison rape about men being raped. It's not funny and it shouldn't be a joke. There are a lot of people who I feel like don't really care about equality but claim to, and then laugh about prison rape. And there are real people, there are people who really do believe in equality, in my opinion, who talk about how we shouldn't be making rape jokes a thing. Like, rape jokes about prison are not funny. And if you're going to speak out against sexual assault, you can't at the same time laugh about men being raped in prison. That's terrifying. But it's a very, very common trope. I mean, even today, when people get arrested, they talk about how you're going to get raped. Like, there's a really good point someone brought up. Isn't it terrifying that is widely accepted in our culture that if you commit a crime, you will be raped? Like, effectively part of the punishment, we put you in a place where you will be raped. That's not funny. That's actually really terrifying. So, I have nothing but respect for those that actually bring this up. One of the biggest concerns I have with everything is the hypocrisy. So I'm highlighting these stories, again, not to make claims about who gets more of what or whatever, just to point out there's some high-profile instances where women have been accused of rape and no one cares. And now we have a story where a woman admits on camera she assaulted a dude, people are laughing, but then she goes to the police and says it was an inadvertent brush-up. My stars and garters. Well, we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, but I have a feeling she'll probably plead out because that's, like, seriously, I think like 90% of cases are people plead out. I'll say this, though. It was in Washington, D.C., which is federal jurisdiction, and the conviction rate in federal jurisdiction for federal crimes, it's like 99%. It's like some ridiculously high number, okay? Feds don't arrest people unless they believe you're going to get charged. D.C., it's a federal district. And the reason I bring this up, I don't know exactly what will happen. Maybe she'll get off. Who knows? The point is, protesters in D.C. there's a reason why protests in D.C. are always tepid and boring. It's federal jurisdiction, and they don't play games. Okay, so when you see people running around smashing stuff and breaking stuff, they charged like 220 people with conspiracy. They went hard. They went felonies, right? They lost, which was surprising because they usually win. But we'll see what happens. So stick around. I got another video on my main channel, the main video I do every day, 4 p.m. It's going to be about BuzzFeed is being torn apart, and it's being torn apart by the left. So youtube.com/Timcast. I'll see you there.